Yeah, I mean, insulin manages blood sugar. So if there's too many sugars in the blood, it has to store it away because most people live a sedentary lifestyle. And that sedentary lifestyle prevents those calories, which are potential energy, from being used. So the body's like, all right, well, let's store that away.
This is the first time I've heard of ghrelin, because the guy in this book, The Fat Chance, Beating the Odds Against Obesity, he has leptin as the fullness and then insulin as hunger right now. Yes? Just talk to Nicole. You still there? Yeah. I guess I need more reading is all. Ghrelin. Ghrelin, leptin. Interesting. So what, is the guy fucking wrong? Jesus.
So leptin and ghrelin are two hormones that have been recognized to have major influence on energy balance. Leptin is a mediator of long-term regulation of energy balance, suppressing food intake, and thereby inducing weight loss. So like, what was it called? There was a huge weight loss for women ClickBank hit a number of years back. What was it called? Anyway, whatever it's called, the mechanism of it was leptin.
Oh yeah.
There's weight loss programs out there that have used leptin as the mechanism for why we do or don't lose weight.
Yeah, well, leptin resistance. Like there's two kinds: inatonic, where people's receptors literally are gone and they're fucked unless with severe intervention.
There's the overproduction of leptin. It drowns the receptors and they don't acknowledge it anymore. They become blind to it.
Really?
So it's decreased leptin resistance.
And this usually happens because of dysbiosis. Is it connected?
It all starts in the gut.
Okay.
That's why type 2 diabetes starts in the gut. Let's go to that copy. Can I get every type but the one I want? Okay. So here's the problem. When we get bad bacteria and candida overgrowth, they eat holes in the gut lining that protects our blood and organs from the outside pathogens, bacteria, environmental toxins, and undigested food. That's why so many people are getting sick. Hyperpermeability, also known as leaky gut, is one of the largest causes of type 2 diabetes. The gut lets way too much undigested food and sugar into the bloodstream, forcing the pancreas to secrete insulin and store it away. That is until the cells fill up with too much sugar and resists more from getting in. That's insulin resistance.
So
Described how we developed higher A1C numbers and why it can quickly turn into pre-diabetic symptoms or type 2 diabetes in a very short amount of time.
So tell me if my chain of logic is right. So let's say a guy gets leptin resistance because of the hyperpermeability. So now he continues to be hungry because his brain doesn't know that he is satisfied with the food he's eating. But also at the same time,
that signal doesn't get there.
Yeah, but at the same time, ghrelin isn't still acting in normal levels, but then insulin comes into the play because the body thinks that we're not satisfied. Then it keeps producing more insulin, which shovels more shit away, and then this can then lead to insulin resistance as well.
So I did a campaign a number of years back. I don't even remember the name of the product that focused on CCK. Another hunger hormone.
There's multiple hunger hormones. Okay. It's so the human body really is a complicated fucking thing. God damn.
It's just a lot.
Yeah.
It's not just, again, understanding one thing. It's going deeper down the rabbit hole to see what all of these different hunger hormones are and how they work in the body.
Yeah, it seems like Dylan's
At the
missing
end of
some
the
pieces.
day,
Yeah.
we can simplify the fuck out of it by saying eliminate bad bacteria and candida, repair the lining of the gut wall,
Yeah.
increase the production of new nerve growth in the gut, which stimulates the vagus nerves, allow for clearer communication between the second and first brain, and allows us to get the full impact of each of these hormones rather than being deficient or inundated. Makes sense?
I got my recording good. I'll look over this again, but I still have more. I gotta reread the books for a second time, just so I can and take notes on them, so I can really get the
And when you
definition
get
down.
somewhere in a book, get on Google and start researching that so that as you get further, more lights are going off.
Yeah.
Oh, I get that. Oh, okay. Now you have connectors that are here. Now you have connectors that are here. Now you can ask more questions.
Yeah. And do you ever read a book called How to Read a Book by Mortimer J. Adler?
No.
No, I mean, basically, long story short of his fucking 250-page book on how to read. It's, you read it first without taking notes. Then you take notes on the definitions. Then the third reading, you're supposed to, maybe you can do this at the second reading too. Like, what are the ideas he's trying to prove? The author's trying to prove. Really, are they right? Are they good? Then the fourth stage is called syntopical reading, where you compare books of different authors on the same topic and see if they coincide. And it's a lot of fucking work. Holy shit! For most of my life, I didn't read correctly, I guess. Former food scientist issues.
I was looking to find something that had the CCK, but it's probably when I didn't even use Google Docs.
Oh no, oh, that's all right. But CCK, I mean, I'll look into that as well. CCK hormone.
I have so much copy. I have not saved more copy than I've saved. If I actually took the time to organize all the copy that I've written and all the campaigns that I've scaled and put it in just like a single thing, it would be a nightmare for me.
Yeah. I mean, the body's complicated, but we got to simplify it down because people don't want to learn.
No, they don't. They don't want to know any more than they need to know.
Yeah.
And that's for us to have this. That's our discretion.
Okay. Also, have you ever had grits before?
Yep.
Even the coarsely ground ones, I'm not sure how much nutrients are in them, but even the coarsely ground ones, it's corn. It's not a lot of fiber in there at all.
Those grits are pretty void of any nutrition.
Really?
They're made from GMO corn. You know what happens to cows that eat GMO corn?
No, they get fucking sick as shit, don't they?
They have to cut holes in their stomachs and scoop it out because their bodies can't do anything with it.
Hey, Nicole. Nicole, you there? Those fucking grits are killing us. Nicole? We're not recording. You can just go.
What?
We're talking about grits. So, the corn, it's made of corn, and corn is fed to the cows, and those cows, they get so sick that they end up having to scoop out parts of their intestines because it's just so unnutritious. So the devoid of nutrition and fiber.
The bodies don't recognize it as food, so that it doesn't process. They have pretty primitive digestive systems.
Yeah.
And they have multiple stomachs, and so they have to have holes this big for the size of an arm to scoop out the undigested food from their intestines. Otherwise, they die.
But even for humans, it's not really a very nutritious thing.
For humans, it's carcinogenic.
Oh.
Light up, start smoking. Every time you eat foods that have that shit in it, it's just like smoking fucking cigarettes.
She doesn't like that.
Like Rowdy Roddy Piper said, life's a bitch. And she's
like corn is carcinogenic?
GMO corn.
Oh, because of what? They have built-in pesticides?
Meat are carcinogens.
Yeah.
Most meats are considered type 1 carcinogens.
You said wheat?
Meat.
Oh, meat. Okay.
Meat could be held more responsible than sugar for
Yeah.
type 2 diabetes.
Yeah.
What's in it? And this is shit that's been known for decades. You can't go to the store. You can't go to Bonds, Ralph's, Safeway, Whole Foods, and pay $5 for, or $12 for a tenderloin, filet mignon, and expect it to be absurdly high quality meat. They can't do it. It's not cost productive. So there's, most of the slaughterhouses and meat companies, they cut as many corners as they can to do what? Raise profitability. And these are publicly traded companies, a lot of them. So they have to produce every quarter profitability, new profit. Otherwise, stockholders run and they go out of business. And the only way to do that is to make it less and less and less real.
Yeah. Gotta get your shit locally. Fuck. Ghrelin, sympathetic activation. Interesting. The vagus nerve? Okay. I'm getting the so you changed it a bunch.
Yeah, Olio redesigned it all.
Oh, okay. But the notes are still the same.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, the notes are still the same. I didn't actually... Wait, did she do that? Nope. I have the presenter notes in the other file, so that's fine.
All right. And also the 12th slide. What understanding this one element is important to making my clients money? And the... yeah, does that make sense? Why understanding this? Why is there a sorry. And then increasing and
Getting this one element important to making money and
having a successful career,
adding to the longevity,
yeah,
and profitability of my career.
And why being able to predict trends is so important to consumers.
So that's the cause.
Okay, yeah.
Causes are trends.
And why being able to predict trend, and why the new call predict.
And it's not really even predicting so much as creating.
And why creating new trends, parentheses, new cause, is so important to consume. It's so important to selling to consumers. Okay, yeah. Are you a true visionary and a valuable tool and a valuable? Do you follow trends or create them? Valuable copywriter, valuable asset. Yeah, I'm not just some fucking hammer. What are you talking about?
Copywriter, especially the way that copywriters are portrayed.
How can you make your promo simple for what your solution that solves? Some really weird ellipses, but oh well.
Where?
Slide 11. I changed it. How can you make your promo simple for what your solution And then it was like this. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, these are very nitpicky nonsense things. So,
One second. Set this. Close the door.
all right. You ready to get this thing started?
Are you ready?
Let me get out those notes.
You really don't need to worry about that. Focus more on asking me questions
Okay.
instead of trying to fill in the blank by, unless you are like, ooh, I got it.
Razor sharp. Yeah, because we can't have any like no hemming and hawing.
Where can I maximize the lighting of the light? All right. Then for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I want you to be ready, to get ready, to feel ready, to actually be ready, because right here and right now, you are going to learn, you are going to discover how to make money. Who wants to make money? Who wants to make money? Who wants to make more money?
This guy.
More money than everybody. Who? All right.
We're on the clock, I guess.
Are you ready?
Yep. 21 minutes, let's shoot for, roughly.
Shoot for 15.
Oh, okay.
Hey, everybody. Mark Pachetti here. I'm here with Brandon Wyatt, and say hey.
How you doing?
How you doing? Are you trying to seduce me?
Not maybe.
Not doing a very good job, so try
Oh.
here. Today, we're going to talk about new cause, new trends. We're not here to swipe the competition. We're not here to swipe what's working. Yeah, there's going to be common practices that we always use in marketing, commercial marketing, digital marketing, all forms of advertising. They've been used since the beginning, and they will be used long after we're here. Now, how we use those techniques is changing. It's constantly evolving. Sorry, that's my dog. And we have to adjust. We don't get to just write and say what we want to say. We have to be super creative now in how we position, how we get people to raise their hands, how we nurture, how we manufacture connection to get people to see themselves, get people to identify with the true problems that we're addressing and solving, so that they can achieve this. And this positive note is where we need to be putting the majority of our emphasis, which we'll talk about in another webinar. So this is about what's your new cause. Now, new cause is something that people haven't heard about. It's not something that's, been blasted everywhere. So people are always looking for that new cause, whether they know it or not. So what is your new cause? Again, the question that your prospects didn't even know they wanted to know. This new cause is essential to creating what?
Persuasion, abundance.
Identification, helping me see myself in the messaging. Because when we trigger those mirror neurons, like if I yawn, you yawn.
Yeah.
The yawn effect, mirror neuron. And if we could we achieve that in our advertising. And one of the ways that we can do that is by getting to the deeper core for why something exists. Does that make sense?
It does.
So the deeper, why am I sick? In health copy. Now, new cause can be used for every single space: dating and pickup, finance, make money online, self-development. There's no limit to how you can use New Cause in every form of advertising and every space of advertising. But people are always looking for that deeper why, because so many things out there just address the surface stuff. In health, a lot of over-the-counter stuff, treatments, medicines, they just address symptoms. They put band-aids on things, but they don't, and toxic band-aids usually, but they don't actually address why those symptoms exist. So people are really looking for that new cause, that deeper why. Are you?
For the new thing? If I've tried stuff in the past, then absolutely. That has tried stuff in the past that hasn't worked. Definitely want to find that new thing. Because if it's with people, if they've seen it before, it goes right over their head. Their eyes glaze over.
Absolutely. And new is not new. You know, new and improved. That means, shoot, I have old and shitty. Mm-hmm. So people are always looking for next. They're not interested in just the constant regurgitation of the same basic messaging being used by multiple brands, because all these brands are looking at each other and like, oh, I'm going to swipe that. I'm going to swipe that. Oh, I'm going to swipe that. I'm going to swipe that. Mm-hmm. Instead, let's develop something, and we're going to get more into that. So New Cause comes from the mechanism. Brandon, what is the mechanism?
The mechanism is the new reason for why whoever's reading is having the problem they're having. So anxiety and depression, you're having anxiety and depression because of this, and you've never heard of it before.
Well, that's New Cause. Mechanism is how something works for me. Why something works for me. So New Cause and mechanism go hand in hand. They're a perfect marriage. So what's one of the products we're working on right now? And in fact, we're going to address that slide in a minute here. But what is the product we're working on right now?
And that's called alkaline structured silver water from My Doctor Suggests.
And what's the mechanism?
The mechanism, it's the alkaline nature of the water destroys biofilm, and the silver kills the bad bacteria.
It vibrates up against it and pops it in a balloon, just ruptures it into a puddle, and we piss it out. That's amazing. Because what don't other products do that this product achieves? And how does that lend itself to a New Cause? You already mentioned it.
Because it solves the core problem, the real issue.
What is the core problem? What prevents bad bacteria and candida from being easily defeated? By garlic.
Well, say again? Why?
Like garlic kills as a natural antibiotic. It
right.
kills bacteria and candida. So why doesn't garlic readily kill and eliminate bad bacteria and candida overgrowth?
Biofilms.
Biofilm protects bad bacteria and candida from being affected. And in fact, these biofilms are incredibly intelligent. They've evolved, and they've now become largely antibiotic resistant to the point where in 2050, about 1 million people around the world are going to die because of antibiotic resistance. So he's going to get the common cold or flu, and because the body's so antibiotic resistant, nothing gets rid of the bacterial overgrowth that perpetuates the infection. Right now in America, about 25,000 people a year are dying from antibiotic resistance. It doesn't get very much play, but how many people died in 9/11?
2,000, 3,000
and
around.
So many more people a year are dying because of antibiotic resistance, which is largely the way it is because of profit seeking, profits over people.
MRSA kills about 15,000 people a year, I think.
Yeah, staph, that kind of staph is scary. I've had friends that had that and fought for their lives, and were on heavy antibiotics, heavy doses of antibiotics, to the point where they couldn't control pooping. So, it's like I was at a restaurant one night with this dude, and he's like, I need to go. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, dude, I just shit my pants. I need to go.
So
he couldn't control his bowels because the antibiotics just destroyed his microbiome.
So it's a very compelling mechanism, essentially. There's a lot behind it.
Absolutely. So the marriage of new cause and biofilm are symbiotic. You know, the new cause typically comes from the mechanism, how this works for me. So where do I introduce new cause in the prospects? It's funny. Brandon and I have recorded this 2 or 3 times now,
Yeah.
and we know these things pretty well, but we've talked about this. Where do I introduce new cause? What are different ways we can introduce new cause in copy?
Depends on I think we talked about it. Depends on what the person's suffering from, how urgent it is. Maybe they just want to hear about it immediately, or you can put it later in the copy, depending on like UTIs we talked about, how it's right now. They want that solved.
A solution. I'm in pain. I'm suffering. I need something right now that's going to work right now. We can position the structured alkaline silver to achieve that, because within 24 hours, there's science and testimonials that clearly demonstrate that people will experience massive decline in acute symptoms.
That's his old cat in the background.
Wandering her way over here. So, you know, where do you introduce it? Well, you could introduce it right in the beginning. You can introduce it, you can open a loop blind so that it increases engagement so people keep reading. You could use it when you start introducing your mechanism.
I mean, we have this slide because a lot of times it's blind, and they tell you end up reading about the mechanism like 5 pages in, but it doesn't have to be that way. You're flexible depending on
the old problem, agitate, solve.
Yeah.
You know, that style of direct response writing won't get to the new cause until halfway, 3/4 into the copy. It's hidden because it's used as a hook, as a lure to get people to keep waiting for that big reveal. But underneath, how do you always be authentic and genuine? Well, when you have a new cause that can actually affect a lot of people, you want to be as transparent as you can possibly be about it. It should be something that you can lead with, right? Does new cause change my promo and funnel? Well, this is the case of 2 alternate realities. When you use or you don't use new cause. So to the left is not using new cause. What does that do to your funnel? Well, first of all, you're going to struggle to get engagement, because unless people haven't heard of something before, they generally don't give it very much mind, not very much attention at all. And they typically bounce. They're much less likely to keep reading or keep watching. So new cause is that pattern interrupt, or it joins the conversation so seamlessly with what I'm experiencing right now, but lets me off the hook and gives me a deeper reason why I've been experiencing this for so long, even though I've tried X, Y, and Z and failed. But I didn't fail. I understand now that I wasn't addressing the real problem. I was just putting Band-Aids on the symptoms, Band-Aids that typically made the underlying problem worse. So new cause really does create a butterfly effect, because one is steeped in substance and authenticity and addressing the bigger issue while grounding it down with a mechanism that works for me. Essential. And that's really what people are looking for. If you go to the left without new cause, what am I latching onto emotionally? What's the hook? Is it the one-legged golfer? Well, yeah, I'm sorry, John Carlton, but that worked back then. It's not going to work right now. It's not even compliant for cold traffic. Again, we can be great copywriters, but if we're not writing in compliance and understanding how to maximize compliance when everybody else isn't, that's how we win. By understanding all of these things and what truly gets people engaged and what's also extremely compliant. So here's an example. We're talking about my doctor suggests. You also brought up UTIs. And
Mm.
so where the new cause is associating UTIs with candida overgrowth.
Mm-hmm.
And while that's not huge, it's effective, right? It doesn't have to be over the top. It just has to be relatable and let prospects off the hook and feel like they're joining a movement. And you can create that movement. We create community, private Facebook page. Talk about that on your checkout. Hey, when you buy from My Doctor Suggests, you will also be included in our private Facebook community. You can ask me, Dr. Gordon Pedersen, anything you want. It's like getting a free consultation from a real life doctor who understands the core of why we're experiencing these acute symptoms, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still using new cause in that messaging, and I'm associating it with the mechanism of the solution. And I'm positioning myself, or this doctor, as the leader, the authority in this movement. So many things are achieved because he is the face and voice of this new cause and is the association, the symbol of the solution. We're writing mental health and anxiety copy. What's the new cause? And because the mechanism is the same for all the silver products, but tell us, what's the new cause? Why am I having a hard time staying consistently happy?
Right. The new cause for that is because of dysbiosis, bad bacteria in the gut.
Dysbiosis, what?
Right. Because of an imbalance of bacteria in the gut, serotonin production, GABA production, dopamine production, these happy chemicals that everyone needs to be happy. And if you don't have them, it's impossible. It's like being happy when you're starving. It's not going to happen. As long as this is happening, you'll have anxiety and depression. And then the mechanism, the silver, can help you rebalance your gut, which allows this production of these.
The cause of dysbiosis.
Yes.
Or an overgrowth of bad bacteria and candida yeasts.
Mm-hmm.
Hundreds of different kinds of yeast overgrowing and replicating every 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's the conversation.
And this is new for a lot of people. They
You
probably
be happy if you have dysbiosis, not consistently, and it's not
Mhm.
your fault. New cause.
and people probably don't consider that their gut, which is actually called the second brain in science now, could
It's
do
an
this.
actual organ. The microbiome is considered an organ. It has its own independent enteric nervous system, and the bacteria in the second brain are largely what influence everything about our first brain. It's not the other way around. So this slide how does the new cause become my big idea? Well, we're kind of getting into that. How did the new cause become your big idea for mental health and anxiety? Why does it matter to me that bad bacteria and candida overgrowth is actually responsible for my emotional ups and downs, my inability to stay consistently happy, constantly looking for bumps of happiness, dopamine, constantly struggling to sleep because GABA is overfiring instead of being nice and relaxed because it's being constantly repleted from the gut. So all of these new cause elements are major elements in leading to your big idea, to your hook, to blah, blah, blah. So where does the new cause come from? We talk about this a lot, how to know more than everybody else in the room. And it's so important. Why? Because as writers, let's say you and I are exactly the same as writers. We have the same basic writing ability. Why would my copy convert and your copy bomb?
The copy might be technically still good, but if it's the wrong appeal, then it's just not going to work.
So
it doesn't touch the person.
That's a bomb that doesn't what?
Explode.
So it's inert. It's a bomb that doesn't do what it's built to do. When a sales letter, a VSL, a webinar, funnel, a campaign, a promo, whatever is built and it doesn't convert, it's like a bomb that doesn't blow up. It's inert. It doesn't do what it's built to do. It's not effective. So when we don't ask the right questions because we don't know enough about a subject, then it gets us to an answer that's ineffective. When we know more than everybody else in the room, I've been studying gut health for the majority of my life since I was 9 years old. No joke. My grandfather invented time release. My mother was a nutritionist and worked at the cancer clinic that I went to when I had cancer as a 9-year-old. I've been in this my whole life as a patient, a researcher, and a copywriting health expert. I'm always reading books. I'm always on the cutting edge of what's happening in the body and how it all works together. Because I have to know that. I have to know more than everybody who hires me. You were on the call when that guy Greg said Mark knows more than me and knows more than most owners. Why? Because I have to know more than everybody else in the room to ask the right questions to get to that new cause, to get to that mechanism, and to get that big idea that freaking crushes it.
Oh, we just basically went over this.
Asking the right questions. If you can't ask the right questions, you're gonna get to the wrong answer. Period. You too. It's the answers we had right, but the questions we had wrong. You can feel so good about developing copy. This is gonna crush it. And it never had a chance. It's not about being a good copywriter. I am a good copywriter. I'm not a great copywriter, but I understand the heuristics, which we're going to get to in the next slide, the story people are telling. And when you understand the deep story people are telling about the problem you can address and solve with the new cause, a mechanism that helps it work for me, and that big idea that makes it all come together, well, that's where the money is. That's where the scalability is. And then it's always keeping in compliance, having everything cited, everything positive, everything's going positive. So how do you agitate without agitating? Well, these are all things that you discover when you discover how to ask the right questions, by learning, by taking the time to do the hard work. How many books have you read lately?
8, I think 9 in 2 weeks.
In
a lot.
You've been working with me for 2 weeks. You've read that many books, and holy shit, you are, who you were 2 weeks ago doesn't even remotely match who you are right now, because you know the questions that make money.
Yeah.
And you're demonstrating it. And soon you're going to easily be able to replicate it again and again and again and again and again, because that's how we do it. It's always, every work is our next best work. And it's always our next best work because we're constantly asking the right questions. We're constantly immersing ourselves in the information that makes us true leaders. We can't lead unless we have the information to lead with. So how does a new cause become my big idea? Well, again, everybody's telling a story. We speak in the language of story. So when you can resonate, get on the radio frequency of my story, it naturally lends itself to that big idea. We were talking about antibiotic resistance. This isn't compliant for cold traffic, but just for an example, what if by the year 2020, your family is dropping dead because of antibiotic resistance? There's a lot, like for the right-wing conservative market, they really focus on taking care of the family and being empowered, taking power away from government and big business and all that type of stuff, even though they vote to support it, which is ironic. And they want, to know that they're taken care of, that their families are taken care of, that they're preppers for what's coming. And when you can enter that conversation powerfully and demonstrate it with real science, it has an amazing impact. And
I mean, a good example is with the anxiety stuff. Most people think, it's in their head. Maybe I'm not positively thinking enough. Maybe it's something up here. But when you tell them, hey, it's your gut, it's very compelling to them.
First brain. That's why we're emotionally up and down.
Yeah.
It's this brain that we need to repair. It's this brain.
Yeah. And they're like, what? And then they keep reading.
So why is understanding this one element important to making money? And also for copywriters to have more longevity in their careers, and for entrepreneurs to have more longevity in their careers because they're using new cause. What do you think? Why is being able to develop trends so important? And that's what New Cause is. It's a new trend. And why is it so important to connecting with and selling to consumers?
Because it just it works because of the way people work. They've tried things in the past that's failed them, or they got mediocre results, and they're still trying to solve this problem, whatever it is, really badly. And when you show them this new thing, this new science, this real science that makes a lot of sense to them, it's very, very compelling.
Sure. And then there's archetypal truths, just
Yeah.
big picture, broad truths that can become our reality unless we do XYZ. And then we get them XYZ and we give them that mechanism for why it works. And we back it up with a guarantee that says, after 60 days, you don't have these results, you get all your money back, period. And a story.
And people are jaded. They're just jaded from marketing. Really, they're bombarded with
That's why
stuff.
it's not about selling. It's
Yeah.
about connecting. And this is how we connect. This is how we get people to raise their hands. This is how we become a
Relevant.
valuable asset,
Oh.
a sharp tool, a Green Beret, a Navy SEAL, freaking Rambo. And I'm not talking about The Last Blood. That was not a Rambo movie. So fun. So how do we become that Rambo, that asset for ourselves and our own business, and for entrepreneurs that hire us as copywriters or bring us in as a partner, because we're getting back end and we're getting paid not just on front end, but mostly on performance, which is where we should be getting paid, right?
Mm.
So that's what this is all about. If you know how to create trends instead of just swiping and following them, you are far more of an asset to companies than if you can't.
Yeah, I mean, odds are you want to be the person getting swiped rather than swiping. It's just that's the
And I
truth.
get an amen. So awesome stuff. Let's end it there. And everybody who is in the Copywriting Miracle membership, you have the opportunity to email us and also involve yourself in our private Facebook group. Ask us anything, and let's keep the conversation going. All right, thanks, Brandon. Anything to add here?
Do the work. Get the research. Be the smartest guy in the room. I still have to reread those books and read another 8.
Great thing to reiterate, because it's so true. It's so true. And a lot of people just stay away from doing that work. But if you're actually passionate about what you're writing about and you care about helping people, and you, let's face it, you want to have your ego pumped up, then know more than everybody else and apply New Cause.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Cheers.
Ciao.
Good.